really do have to talk. This subject is about what many of you have spoken about, and a lot of you have concerns with, is this notion of can scary things happen in the astral and the little monsters that pop up occasionally. So we've talked a bit about resonance and this notion of you kind of you're resonating a vibration at all times. So when you go into the lower astral, what I call the lower astral, these dimensions that are closest in vibration to ourselves. That's like the fourth dimension, or this imprint in the astral of the 3D. Now, often there are lower dimensional entities, and often these are kind of birthed through the fears of humankind, and also triggered by emotional fears and things. And this is what I talk about, not becoming reactive. So if you're going out of body and you're carrying this trace level of fears, things will pop up occasionally. I remember at the beginning there'd be like a monster popping up at the end of the bed. I remember literally like this hairy monster, and I'd swear at it. I remember there'd be sort of weird creatures, and I'd knock them out of the way. Sometimes I'd find myself saying in the name of Jesus or whatever. These things just happened, and that's okay. You use that. I eventually got to a point, and I've got to relate this story to you because it is a rather profound one. And I was going out night after night. Um, and I was confronting a being who was attacking me with these balls of energy. Now, it was kind of like a she for whatever reason, and it was like her skin was made of maggots and everything was crawling, absolutely disgusting, and her hair was kind of like snakes or whatever, and everything, and the stench in the astral, it was appalling, and I was really, really scared. And I remember at the time thinking, what's going on here? I go out night after night, and she was throwing these balls of energy at me and actually hitting me. I'd wake up and I'd be sore. Um, and I thought, what am I to do? So what I found, I decided to pursue it and keep on going out after it. And I found at some stage I could defend myself by using these energy balls as well. And but I could never make a direct hit. Then to get to the end of the experience, this is after about a week of these kind of duels in the void. Um, Pretty full on stuff. It was hyper real. This being there, and every time I get out, they were there. I couldn't get past them. Now, eventually, when I was getting quite good at kind of intercepting her energy ball, she said to me, "Greg, you're getting good at the whole defending thing, aren't you?" And I remember thinking, "Wow, she's calling me by my name. That's interesting." Next thing, she's right by me, and I was absolutely horrified. The view, I can still see it so clearly now. The eyes moving, everything made up of seemingly kind of weird, kind of little insects. I don't know what it was, and the smell was terrible. All of a sudden, I felt a release from my heart, and it wasn't an intellectual thing. And I felt this incredible empathy for her, and then her face transformed into one of absolute beauty and radiance. And she said to me, "You see, Greg, it's all the same." And I kind of came out of that astral experience and knowing that there was no such thing as evil, that it was actually the light seen through our own shadow. So you see, it's this shadow that we often carry into the astral, that most people are trained, programmed, triggered to carry this shadow when they sleep. It doesn't actually exist. Since then, I haven't been hassled. So you may get a little bit of hassling, a little bit of elbowing. Some creature in the astral. Then there are ghosts and things like that. There might think, "Oh, who's this waking up?" And they'll be, like a moth to the light. They'll be attracted. Don't be put off by this. That just means you're taking out the energy of fear, the resonance of fear with you. This is why all of these preparation exercises I talk about are really, really useful, because they just help drain that residual fear that is within you. But as I've said, there are things in this reality that are far more scary, I think. Many systems we have, man-made systems we have in place that are more scary than being attacked by, an energy ball or something like that. So you might get the odd fright. Something's hyper real, and many of you have seen beings in the shadows and think, "Oh, there's a shadow being, this is really scary." That can be your own fear. You're looking through your own fear and you're seeing a being of light, but it looks like a shadow being. And you have these programs, perhaps as a child, you saw these things and you're afraid. So, and we've touched upon this before, but um, really, it's worth to take that risk. It's what we are. We're waking up to that. I've mentioned that scaredy cat notion of what society is, and that very much plays into that field of these archetypes that are out there in the lower astral, scaring people back into their bodies, if you like. And remember, we're all going out of body anyway. I've seen beings that affect people into having nightmares when they're sleeping. Uh, it's not so sinister. It's just because they can. Um, so what I urge you to do is to not be so afraid by that. It's often these little things can scare people, and we talked about how kids get scared too by that. But this, I'll reiterate this point of the astral experience being one that is absolutely benevolent and absolutely ecstatic and beautiful. So sometimes you have to get through these levels to go to the next one, and these levels of fear within yourself. But in the end, it's actually a great process because through it all, you're alleviating this weight that you think you have that isn't yours in the end. So it's worth to play with. Just remember, yes, whenever you fall asleep, you're taking those vibrations with you. So of course, it makes sense too on a fundamental level. If you've got certain fears with you, you may see those things. So all it really is the archetypes in the astral that are showing themselves in answer to your resonance. Okay, so it is an aspect of you. It is an aspect of you. Once you work through those, they're gone. So that's why these meditations on sensing the perfection within, of a chakra clearing, um, really clearing yourself of tensions and of stresses you don't even know you have. And this notion of evil that is very much kind of bandied around in society, there's always the enemy. Think of these things in the illusion. Well, as I said, it's the greatest teacher because it's very clear cut. It is what is not. Um, and in the end, you may find yourself feeling strange things like a person who perhaps you don't agree with their political views, but you might feel a sense of empathy, just as I did for that strange being who taught me so much in the astral, who was a divine being of radiance, but she showed herself to be that incredible. It was pure evil when she was fighting me in the astral. So all of these things have served me. And if you think of it, the illusion is serving us to wake up. Everything is in our favor. So all of these little fears we have, don't let them compound. Don't let them define who you are. Don't let them stop you from experiencing the greater you and the greater reality and the greater cosmos. Um, Enjoy it. If I have a dream that's very vivid, or if there's a slight nightmarish aspect to it, I think that's fantastic. Something's happening. So I'll look into that. I'll feel into that and work it out, because I can tell you for sure that there is no such thing as evil. The cosmos is so loving, and to feel that sense of being loved at all times is so uplifting. So yeah, these themes are interesting and they're okay to explore. Don't avoid the fear of this experience, and there's always a solution. So it's not so much that it's a problem you're dealing with; it's just a state of affairs. Once again, we're getting out of the current situation, the current as in that vibration that is all around us in the collective consciousness. That is a great teacher. We're getting into the present that actually is. So enjoy playing with that, and yeah, yeah, it's an important one. And I'll see you in the next video.